The WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN and score $1,000, but in bonus cash up to $1,000, up to $1,000 in bonus cash if you use that promo code NBA SGPN at UnderdogFantasy.com. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM and make sure you enter the free roll football contest up to $3,500 in prizes up for grabs. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll to enter today. Yes, sir. You're back with another edition of the WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. You know me, know the voice of the guys. Me, really real, villain real. Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. Hoo-wee. What a day. What a day. It's so great to bring this back out. Hey, quiet as kept. Quiet as kept. 3 straight locks. Cash. 3 straight locks. Let's keep it rolling. Scott Studio Reichel. I'm sure you have something else to play. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Can't complain. We also swept, so basically a perfect episode for us. Ended up choosing correctly. There were 2 player props that I loved. The question was, which one do I take as an alt? And I chose correctly. I had a 50-50 shot. I took Clark, 12 plus assists at plus 270. As my dog, she had exactly 12, so thank you to her. And for my lock, I had Charles over 9.5 rebounds, which was never in doubt, but then once she got to 10, she just decided not to rebound again, so I appreciate it. Getting to the bare minimum. Now, I know that for me, I know that you had the 12-12. You had the 12-12-12, but at least she did her part. Didn't help the Sparks go blown out.
If the Sparks had a pulse, had a pulse on life, we would have been in there for the 12-12-12 parlay. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They had 0 pulse in that game at all. And you know what? It's fine.
The game was ugly.
Maybe somebody round robin the 12-12-12 parlay. Maybe that happened. Let me know. Let me know if you was smart and you round robined it, because, hey, 20-1 payout was pretty nice. It would have been very, very nice on just a random parlay that I just threw together because you were talking. So
yeah, it was also a weird type of game for Tina though, because she was dominant. She was phenomenal scoring wise.
Oh,
she
so
10,
good.
She had 10 rebounds, 6 offensive, which I thought was kind of weird, but I'll take it. She had 6 offensive rebounds, so I appreciate it.
All right. Man, let's get on to, we got a bunch of games coming up here. Before we do that, we got to talk to you about NFL is back. And guess what? The guys on the mothership, Sean Stacking Money Green, Ryan Real Money Kramer, they're picking every single game against the spread like they've done since 2011. Make sure to enter the free roll football contest up to $3,500 in cash up for grabs. Sign up at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. All right. Scott, man. Last episode was really good, man. It could have been legendary. You know what? If the Wings had won the game, I think it would have been a better day. That was the last thing that I was just looking for. To really
I feel bad for
Arike.
What you make, 9 threes?
Oh, dog, it was crazy. She had 5 at the end of the first.
Yeah.
Like in the end of the first, she had 5. It was insane. All right. 7 p.m. on the East Coast. Here we go. Seattle showers.
Is that a new sound effect, or do we have that already?
Yeah, no. You heard that?
Nice.
The nice little rain falling. You heard the birds chirping in the background. Like that was absolutely just a new New little shower. Let's very, very much brand devastating. Nobody that's going out there and winning games. The Seattle Showers are on the road again in the back-to-back deja vu game against the Connecticut Sun. In Connecticut, Sun opened -1.5. They're currently laying 3.5. 159.5 is the total. Injury report here for these two teams. Let me go double check underdog here. Make sure that we got looking good on the injury.
I mean, we saw AT played in the last game, so that definitely is going to help.
She's expecting, yeah, she's fine. Like, she should be good moving forward. I don't have anything. Yeah, I don't see anything sticking out of the ordinary for either one of these teams today. Well, first part of the deja vu game, when 96-86 over 157.5 cashes. That is the win. I mean, I guess you could say Seattle was kind of competitive at a point. They were really getting dogged at one point and kind of battle back, but then it was just like there was this gap that they never jumped over and never actually looked. Oh, is it?
Yeah, so it's kind of all over the place. But
let me see. Let me go from the hardwired back to the Wi-Fi.
Either way, I think you're trying to say the Sun kind of coasted most of the game. At least it felt that way. They were in control for a lot of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it was horrible, and so, but it is a deja vu game, so deja vu rules. Take the Storm, take the under. I don't know. I just can't get behind this Storm team right now.
Yeah, we both can't. That's why we stopped playing their sound effect. We had to download a new sound effect just to play for this team. So I got to go with the Sun again. They've been good in back-to-backs randomly, so good for them. But ET looked fine, didn't score much, but still looked good rebounding and assisting. They just looked in control for most of the game. And the Gabby Williams, I don't call it an experiment because we know that she's proven in the WNBA before, but the chemistry's not there yet, and they're still trying to work through it. She's done basically nothing since joining the team. So I think I'm going to have to go with the Sun in this one. I just think you're looking at a team that is definitely in better form, and the Storm are definitely a team that I don't want to back right now. So give me the Sun -4.5 at home. You? I know it's deja vu game, but they have, according to Jay Dahl, which I'm pretty sure is correct, the Storm have not covered a spread since the break.
No, they haven't.
So I can't back this game. I'll keep riding.
I have zero faith. Yeah. I'm going to take Sun, but I have zero faith in the Sun actually getting this done. I can't play Storm though. Like I just can't. But I'm going to let you know I have zero faith in the Sun getting this done back to back. I just can't. Fair. I can't. Like if somebody else has, bigger balls than me and they're out there and they can put money on the Storm right now, I think you should do it. I think you should follow it. This is textbook, like Scott, this is textbook deja vu game here. Connecticut got the win. They're a bigger favorite in the second game, and the total is already trending back towards the under. Like it opened up 160.5 and is going down 159. Like this screams everything of just take the deja vu principles here, but I can't do it. Seattle
I see people saying, by the way, the spread is 3.5 now in DraftKings. Now, I was going to play a deja vu angle, but not on the side. I like the under in the game because do you remember what the first total was?
157.5.
Give or take. I think it was a little bit lower than that, actually. And now it's at 159.5. So it does seem like a bit of an overreaction to me. I'll take the under as my deja vu angle, but I can't back the Storm based on current form. So give me the under as my contrarian play, I guess. That's how I'm looking at it. But, I mean, I'm trying to think of any other reason why I should really consider taking the Storm besides going for the deja vu angle, because this team has just been absolutely terrible. And you can make the argument that the Storm have the talent to match up with the Sun. And if you look at the matchup on paper, it would be a competitive playoff series if this was a matchup. Like, it would be close, but I got to go by form. And for whatever reason, the Storm, who looked like they were going to be a serious potential title contender when they killed Vegas at home a couple of months ago, since that point, I mean, they were fine. And then the break came around and they forgot to play basketball. So I have to go with the Sun. At least the chemistry is there. Mabry's been pretty solid with this team, but I pick them to win, a couple playoff series, probably not. But I'll pick them to beat the Storm again. Until the Storm figure it out, I'll keep fading them. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I'm over this. All right. Yeah, I can't take them. I can't take them. I just can't do it. But player props.
I'm trying to think
Brianna
what
Jones.
Yeah, she was
Brianna
great.
Jones absolutely went nuclear.
It was a career high, right?
I think so.
I think
She's at 13.5. I don't know. I don't know how you can. What is the adjustment to what Brianna Jones, like? She was just bigger, stronger, and just better.
That's really the problem. It just seemed like Magmagor and NECA had no chance. Like it wasn't even like competitive in the paint. So
yeah, I'm taking Bree Jones again.
Okay.
Over 13.5 points.
I'll go with Gabby Williams under 7.5 points. Happy we got props. She's gone under in all 4 games this season. She's at less than 5 points in 3 of the 4 games this season. Her minutes are still in flux, so assuming she's going to play somewhere in the mid to high 20s. But she has been really, really bad. I mean, going through the actual shooting numbers here, she ended up going 1 for 5 in the first game, went 1 for 6 in the second game, 2 for 6 in the third game, and 1 for 7 in the fourth game. So she has shot below 34% in every game. So I'll go with the unders on Gabby Williams until she remembers how to shoot. So I'll give me the under 7.5. You like Mabry in this game or AT props or something?
Mabry was good too.
Yeah.
Mabry's been really good on. You know who sucked like ever since the break? DB.
Yeah, she's been really
DB's
bad.
Been trash.
Her points are 15.5.
I mean, what has ever? And I think it's we might have to play the under for 15.5. I do think the game goes under deja vu principles, and so lesser scoring. Her last few games 4, 16, 13, 10, 15, 7, 9, and then the 28 against Dallas as soon as they came off the break. I mean, at 29, I'm sorry. 29 as soon as they came off the break. And then just horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Yeah. I think I'm with you there. Bonner's played 2 games against the Sun this season. Do you want to guess how many points she scored combined in those 2 games?
How many?
13. She had 4 in the game
a
day or 2 ago. So, yeah, I don't mind the under on Bonner.
Yeah. All right, there it goes. I'm with you.
Cool.
We gotta play it. Yeah.
I also want to point out, by the way, that Jewel rebound is at 6.5. So the dream is dead.
Dang, 6.5.
She actually went over
last
game,
though. I was about to say, isn't this the run where you're supposed to get in on the over now?
She's going over in 3 of the last 4. So I checked out anyway, but it's at 6.5. So it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. Hey man, the great bettors go over now, cash the overrun, and then hop back in on the under when the underrun goes on.
Yeah, I want to ask you though about another player. I want to ask you about Ezzy, because her rebounds are at 7.5. The under's minus 132. She's had less than 8 rebounds in 7 of the last 9 games. She's had less than 8 in back-to-back games. Against the Sun, she's gone under this number in 3 of the last 4. What happened to her rebounding-wise? Ezzy just stopped getting rebounds, and I really don't know what happened there. Is it like a mental thing?
I mean, I think she's just running into some really tough rebounding groups. Like, you know, when you got Jonquel and you got Stewie in there, you're competing for a lot of rebounds. Like, I just think it's a really bad stretch for her, but she definitely, like, the numbers definitely fall off from the 9, 8, 10, 13, those high stretches she had before the All-Star break. I really don't know. That's interesting. I'm going to have to look into that. But, and also, number 1 rebounding team in the WNBA, Connecticut Sun. So you have a point here in under 7.5. I mean, she hasn't been close. Like, well, I guess 7 is close, but like, as it used to be clear cut, near triple double most nights. Not triple double, but near double most nights.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Wow, fall from grace. I wouldn't say that's the game to get in on the over, but there's a game coming up.
I was looking at the under for her on rebounds, but in the future, maybe. Connecticut, we know, is a good rebounding team. But I wanted to mention Ezzy's rebounds have not been good recently.
I just feel like her and NECA go through this phase where they stop rebounding. The books drop them to 7.5, and then they go on a run and they start going over again.
Could be,
The
but
phase of
I don't mind
life,
the under.
betting the WNBA here.
Mm.
All right, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry. The NFL is back, and there's a tons of Pick'em specials that you can use to get started and go in there and throw in a bunch of picks. Hey, I'm not thinking too hard about the NFL at all. Lamar Jackson higher on the rushing yards. Come on. I mean, one, I'm questionable about the new pieces on the offensive line. He might be running for his life. He scrambled for 29 yards easy in that what was it? In the AFC Championship game. So Lamar Jackson, I think they're going to give him some design runs this time and actually run the ball against the Chiefs, unlike they did in that AFC Championship game. Lamar Jackson higher on the rushing yards. I think that's a nice little play there. But make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. I know that was a football play. NBA SGPN for that. Claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code NBA SGPN. All right. Washington Mystics on the road. Go and play the Dallas Wings. Dallas laying 5. 172.5 is the total.
Can we play the drop in this game, or have
Yeah.
one team turned the
Yeah.
corner?
What?
Okay.
This is 100% still worthy
Because
of the
record-wise,
drop.
it counts. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. I mean, even though Dallas.
I mean, I have to ask because they've been better lately, but the record is still the record. So that's why I kind of got to bring it up. But the Wings, they tried really hard against the Fever. Unfortunately, they can't stop anybody, as that was an easy over again. Pretty much if you liked the same things in the first game, you cashed the second game. It just felt like it was the rinse and repeat. Clark assists were great. Her points were great. Kelsey continues to be dominant. And you ended up seeing the Mystics who, once again, have looked underwhelming recently, and they've had some injuries recently as well, with Sykes getting injured. Washington is up 2-0, though, in the head-to-head, but now Satu's back, and she's been pretty good since coming back from injury. Shakira Alston's also banged up, but the Wings have been better recently. The Mystics were decent, but then unfortunately for them, did end up losing the last game against the Suns. Both teams have looked a little bit better, but I do think that competition matters. DC played against the Storm, who have been terrible, played against they ended up losing that game by 6, played the Sparks, who might be the worst team in the league, played the Storm, who have been terrible, they won, and ended up beating the Sky, who have been really bad, and Carter didn't play. So the point is that they have definitely had an easier schedule than Dallas has recently, and Dallas has looked sharper. I'm thinking Dallas might be discouraged by that game against Indiana because they still scored a bunch of points. Defensively, they can't guard anybody. But can the Mystics score with Austin being injured and with potentially Sykes not playing again? Like, I don't know what the Mystics have. We're back where we started with this team. Like, at least the Wings look competent, at least for the last couple weeks. That's how I'm looking at it. I got to go with the Wings. And I hate the Wings, but they're better now.
I gotta go back, man. I don't even remember this team when Sykes. I mean, they had their stretches and they had.
Well, they had the worst record in the league, so
yeah.
That's all you need to know.
And first of all, before I say anything else, this is a clear-cut lock. You just lay it with Dallas here.
I think you have to. Based on at least form, it's a really trappy line, but it should be higher. Based on
it's just that it's been a little while, and so I want to go back and get the games without Sykes, games without Austin. Where's Austin? There she goes. There we go. So, the last 5 games without Shakira Austin and without Brittany Sykes, they lost 96-87 to Phoenix at home. They lost 89-77 against Aces at home. They did get a win 89-84 at Indiana. That actually looks a lot better now than it did then. But like that looks really, really good. And then they lost at Minnesota 67-74, I'm sorry. And then they lost again at Vegas 77-98. And these Vegas losses actually look horrible right now. You couldn't score against the Aces.
Yeah.
They beat the Sparks. Man, the Sparks are in hell. Oh my gosh.
They are not good. I mean, you had the Dream as your lock, IT and Charles. That game was over in about quarter. That was rough.
Now, what you can say is that they did beat Dallas twice. But that was both in Washington, in DC, and that wasn't Satu. I don't think Natasha Howard played both of those games. I think Natasha Howard only played one, if my memory serves me correctly. I'm almost positive she only played one. She didn't play either. I don't think Maddie Segrist was playing in any of those games. So Jalen Brown definitely wasn't playing in any of those games. So it's a good amount. And I don't even think they had signed Odyssey at that point either. I'm almost positive they hadn't signed Odyssey at that point either. So yeah, this is a clear cut lock. You just take Dallas. Dallas is they're about to beat the crap out of them.
They really should, because even the Indiana game, Indiana's over 500 now. Congratulations. One is that they're a playoff team. You still scored 90 plus points. I just don't know how the Mystics are going to keep up with this team. And you could argue that I know revenge angles kind of a BS term when both teams are terrible, but they did lose both games of the season. You got Satu back. So I do think that you're looking at a good spot for the Wings to get some revenge, if you want to count that. The Mystics are bad. The Wings are better based on the last couple weeks. So, yeah, I'll go with the Wings in this one as well.
Look.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick to tie this all in a bow. Don't be surprised if the Mystics still win this first half, by the way, and this Wings bet. If you really want to play, like, of course, lay it now just in case they just go ahead and wash the first half. One of the small few times that the Mystics lose the first half, just go ahead and let it go and let that be washed. Lay the 5.5 now. But if you really want to be sharp, I think you still take Mystics first half. And I think the Mystics are either close, if not leading at half. And then this comes into play. Since the break, in the second half, the Dallas Wings are leading the WNBA in points, 50.4 points per game. The Washington Mystics are dead last, 38.4 points per game. So I'm almost positive, like, there's your script for how this happens. Second half, complete steamroll by Dallas. Like, complete steamroll.
Yeah. They should.
But yeah, this is you got to bet this tonight. There's no way this sits at 5. No way. All right. Player props. Oh, totals. Well, totals one. I don't think either one of us are taking it under.
Probably not.
Yeah, I'll take my I'll take my chances that the Mystics get some easy bucket. Like it's Dallas's defense. It's Dallas's defense. Like it's gonna be horrible. So cool over 172.5. What do you like here for the player props?
So for player props in this one, I'm actually shocked we got Aaliyah Edwards props, by the way. That caught me off guard. For this matchup, it has been a while. I'm happy about it. Trying to think of what I actually want to go for props, because there are a couple things I might be tempted by, but they don't have Howard assists listed. The under has been good for that recently. Arike is at 22.5. Give him McCown over 7.5 rebounds. She's been a monster on boards. They're finally playing her more minutes. Thank God. She's had at least 11 rebounds in 4 straight games, and she's had 8+ rebounds in 5 straight. Her rebounds are 7.5 at minus 128. Why is the 7.5? Once again, 11+ rebounds in 4 straight. Give me the over on rebounds on that one. With Olsen being out, hell yeah. Who's she going up against? Dolson? Edwards? Yeah. Give me the McCown rebounds.
All right. Satu over 4.5 assists here. She's already just been on fire with the assists, cashing 3 of the last 4. She didn't have any assists, like crazy. In that high-scoring game, in that high-scoring Indiana game, she had no assists. None. None. And with a game with a million freaking points, had none. However, before that, she was 3 of the last 4, 6, 5, 3, and 5. Been very, very good overall, just coming back from injury and just being able to rack up assists. She's averaging about 4.3 on the season. But here for the Mystics, last 2 games, 10 and 10, Scott. on the assists. 10-10, and they're at 4.5. She clearly this team, hey, they respect her defensively, and she's able to make the right play and get the ball exactly where it needs to be and get quick points. And I think that she's going to do that again. I'm expecting a big game for Satsu Sabali once again, but I will take the over 4.5 assists for sure.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Let's see what else we got here. What else intrigues?
Do you want to take Edwards over because she's going to get more minutes now, or you kind of want a bigger sample? Because her props are low.
I think I'll take a over. I think I'll do points and rebounds. Right. What's her point? Let me see. What's the prop look like? And I don't think she played the first game, did she? No, because she was hurt. So we have
Thomas mentioning, by the way, McCown doubles plus 320. I don't mind that. 320 is pretty good.
Yeah, look at her. When did Shakira get hurt?
I mean, she's been in and out of the lineup for most of the year.
Was it Seattle or was it Chicago?
Oh, let me check.
I don't remember.
Shakira Austin. She already got ruled out officially for the game, by the way. She missed the Chicago game and the Connecticut game.
Okay, so it was Seattle, the one that she got hurt. Okay, so I mean, so you see the usage is ramping up from Chicago. She had 26 minutes. She had 23, 24, looks like about. In Connecticut, got a lot more usage in Connecticut game. Ended up going over this prop. I'm not mad at it. Somebody wanted to get behind it. I could get there. I would definitely be on the watch. I wouldn't play it this game. Not this game, just because of the size of Tierra McCowan and Kalani Brown. Then you still got Natasha Howard, Satu, all of those bodies there. But on the future, that double is coming for Leah Edwards.
Yeah.
Like that double is absolutely coming. And I'm just trying to figure out when it's going to be. And because it's at 13-1 right now. And 13-1 is almost enough. Like I actually might put a little bit on it. But I just don't think that's really tough. Like I think that's a really hard matchup for her to be able to do it against Dallas. But guess who they got coming up on Thursday, Scott?
I don't know.
The Mercury.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's gonna be on. Oh, it's the Mercury on Thursday. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna just save my little piece of bet for Thursday because she's getting a double on Thursday, 100%. It's nobody to battle with. Brittany Griner? No way. All right. That's it for Dallas. Before we get to last two games on the slate, got to talk to you about Rhythm. Proud partner of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Their AI-powered sports betting platform helps provide bettors with all levels to be able to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. You can build them for the WNBA, you can build them for the NFL, you can build it for golf. You can do all of that with the power of data. Shout out to the MIT scientists for Rhythm for making all of this possible for us. I'm about to fire up the good old trusty Rhythm app now and look in there and see what kind of picks we got for tomorrow. Rhythm. Rhythm. Oh, there we go. And let's see. What is... All right. These are a couple of games we haven't talked about still. But they are backing the deja vu angle, Scott. And they're saying you got to take the showers. 58.2 win probability.
Good luck with that.
I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen. Like I just know this is the spot, the weird, like it needed a deja vu spot for them to finally win another game. Like that's really what it was. They needed a deja vu spot for them to finally win another game. I'm not gonna bet them, but I just know it's gonna be them. I know they're gonna do it. I know it. And if I bet them, it's not gonna happen. But if I don't bet them, it's gonna happen. I know it. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. I'm not salty about this at all. Hey, make sure you use that 7-day free trial at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, Scott. Last two games of the slate on the nightcap, 10 p.m. on the East Coast. The Atlanta Dream are on the road going to play the Phoenix Mercury. Phoenix Mercury laying 1.5. 160.5 is total. Injury report, kind of. Diaz Rossi had her tech rescinded. She's actually able to play in this game. However, Natasha Cloud's tech was not rescinded, and she is suspended for this game because she's got her 7th technical foul. Man.
I don't remember her getting 7.
Hmm?
Do you remember her getting 7?
What, over the course of the season?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You do?
Yeah, it felt like she was getting. I'm surprised it ain't happened already. It felt like she was getting tech every night. I'm surprised you don't. I feel like almost every time I watch the game, I feel like she's getting into it with the ref, and it's probably because she's got 100% win percentage on her challenges. I swear to God, every time what's his name has challenged over there, Nate Tibbetts. Anytime Nate Tibbetts has challenged a play that Natasha Cloud said challenge, she's won every single time. Every time.
The refs in WNBA are not good.
And then I think he's missed every single one that's not her. Like every time he's ever challenged, like Sophie Cunningham has asked for challenges, Brittany Griner has asked for challenges. Every single time, it has not worked. But when Natasha Cloud called for it, it hits, man. So no agent 0 in this one. Let's see here. I don't see anything else. Yeah, no, nothing else here. All right.
I'm taking the Dream.
What? This is a cold lock. Like, what?
I'm taking the Dream.
How do you get behind this Phoenix team right now?
I can't. They have been playing against some decent competition, but they are a team that I don't trust at all. They did have pretty tough matchups, though, against the Liberty, the Lynx, and the Aces. They lost all those games at home. The issue was the way that they lost those games. They weren't close in any of those games. They got run out of the building as soon as the game started. And now they're without their starting point guard. So I don't like their chances at all. Now, the Dream are a step down in competition, but I was pretty low on this Mercury team entering the season. I know you were higher on them because of upside. I thought Taurasi would be more of a distraction. That really has not been the case. It just has been this team not being very good. I think you're looking at the Dream, who have been pretty solid recently. Yes, they were losing some games. So they had a bit of a slump after that winning streak. Then they ended up winning last game against the Sparks. But they were competitive. I mean, the Fever game was close. They almost came back from 20 down. The Storm game was close. And then the Aces, that is what it is. They were missing Tina Charles. So I'm tossing it out. I do think that with the, I'll just say the lack of grind or hustle when it comes to rebounding, Charles and company should feast on the boards. I feel like it's just a great second chance opportunity game where the Dream can shoot somewhat terribly and still just get significantly more second chance opportunities. But without their starting point guard and with the current form of this team, the Mercury are kind of going through it. I know that the Storm have more upside, and they're a team that we're talking about as the Showers for, this. We got to think of another name for the Mercury because right now it is not good for this team. I'm trying to think of a good comparison. Mercury, I don't know, they got lead poisoning. We could do that. Could we just say a different element? Does that work? We'll figure something out, but it's not good. I can't back this team.
Let's
really
break out the good old periodic table. Periodic table. Let's see.
A little bit of lead poisoning right now.
Let me see here. I gotta look at the periodic table. I'm gonna find something that is disgusting. It sounds horrible. And that's going to be their new name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just now if you're at the point, one, it is very questionable that why they're lame. But if you're on the point where you're saying, I think that we have to go Mercury here, maybe you're a fan, you have to say, all right, this is a stick it to the league angle of this team just rallying behind, they get the text because of the bad calls that they feel are bad calls and they get mad about those calls, so they get the text. But like with all of that, I just have to say this team is playing horrible basketball. Like this is including to this Atlanta Dream team. In the game they won, they gave up 80 points. After that, 84, 89, 97. It's significantly gotten worse every single game. Like, I mean, now granted, the last team they did beat was this Atlanta team, but it was a back-to-back, and in the first game they looked horrible. I guess the only blemish that I can really say for Atlanta coming up is the fact that they lost that game to the Storm, but they were
Yeah.
8.5 point dogs. But like they still lost that game to the Storm. Like a loss is a loss. But I mean, I'm not mad at the Indiana loss because Indiana looks great right now. The Aces are the Aces. You get them whatever you get that night, and there was no Tina Charles that night. Yeah, this is just clear cut. We take the dream.
Yeah. I can't believe the Mercury were favored in this game. No starting point guard.
I didn't
currently
think they
losing a
would be
bunch of-
favored.
I
I thought
didn't
they were
either.
gonna make me. I thought they were gonna give us Mercury plus 4.5 and make me think about it.
I thought it was going to be like plus 1 or 2 because the Dream are still 5-11 on the road, but I'm shocked that the line is where it is.
Yeah, they don't get right on this game. They lose this one and then they get right against the Mystics.
Yeah.
So this one's a L. Get right against the Mystics, and then they also go on the road to Seattle, and that could go either way at this point.
Yep, it definitely can.
Hopefully that's Seattle's get right spot. Hopefully. All
Hopefully.
right.
You never know.
Let's see here. What's the abbreviation for Mercury on this table?
You know, like for Mercury. Okay. Oh, you actually pulled the periodic table?
A Mercury
It is
abbreviation.
HG.
HG? That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
HG. I'm finna call them HG. You don't even get your name anymore. You're just HG. Hydragyrum. Hydragyrum comes from the Greek.
We need something that rolls off the tongue, you know?
Hydragyrum. Hydragyrum.
Okay.
Hydragyrums. Freaking disgusting hydragyrums.
I mean, that's a little bit much. We're gonna forget that next episode anyway.
Can't even say it fast. You can't even say it and be mad because you're struggling trying to say the word.
I think every time they lose, we just call them a new element. We'll call them lead today. But if they lose again,
Borons. Oh yeah, we're calling Martinez 100%. We're calling them the Borons. Yeah, the Phoenix Borons. Freaking disgusting Borons.
That's fair.
So freaking tired of the Borons. All right, they're the Borons until they can win 2 games in a row. Yeah, I'll make the mark shorter than the Storm. I'll give.
See a question by the way, asking from Christian if the lines are less sharp because of football. I don't know if that really matters. It could be. I think in reality, WNBA lines are soft anyway. I mean, you can tell from the show that we've been doing a lot of not even just the actual wins and loss record, the actual line moves that we beat on like a night in, night out basis. You just don't see in other sports. Like you're looking at, like for example, Tina Charles or like Clark assists at like 12.5. That line fell. I think Charles for like 12 assists or 12 rebounds. I mean, didn't get there, but that was like plus 2 something. That closed to like 170. Like these lines plummet, especially in the alt markets. That's kind of why you can make a lot of money in WNBA. The lines move so quickly. You can really beat some soft lines. So it might just be based on popularity and how the books prioritize other sports, like you said, or just maybe a lack of information. Just the books don't know enough about the WNBA, and we do. So it could be either or. Maybe both.
But. All right. We're fading the Borons. Total is at 160.5. Yeah, I don't trust Phoenix to play defense right now.
I don't know if I trust their offense though. They have no point guard. Like I think I'm gonna lean under. I don't feel great about it. I mean, the Mercury before the last game against the Aces, and it is the Aces we're talking about, they only scored 79. Now they scored 76 against Minnesota, 70 against the Liberty. They still have not been good offensively. I think I'm going to lean under. I'm probably not going to bet this, but no starting point guard, that throws a bit of uncertainty into the thing. And especially with Cloud being selfless and as she gets other players involved, I can't take it over. I'll lean to the under. Maybe Dream team total over. Maybe Mercury team total under. But I can't take a full game with a team missing a starting point guard. So we'll disagree slightly on that. But I just feel like it's a spot where Cloud, we know that recently she's kind of had an up and down season, mostly solid for prop purposes. But Copper, for example, her assists are under 2.5 at plus 105. And she's had less than 2 assists in 8 of the last 10, less than 2 assists in 15 of the last 20. Copper's had a less than 3 assists in 24 of her 33 games played this season. Like, I know that she's a scorer, She really is allergic to passing the basketball. And Taurasi's going to have to play more minutes because Taurasi now is going to have to be the starting point guard because Cloud's out. But when your best player doesn't pass the ball, and now you're looking at who's going to run pick and roll with Griner, I don't think post-prime Taurasi is where I want the pick and roll offense to be. So I think I'm going to go under in this game. It's just a spot where the Dream defensively have been better lately. I think the Mercury should be able to, once again, maybe put together an okay defensive effort. Probably not, but they're at home. But I don't want to take an over with Taurasi being starting point. I'll pass.
Yeah, no, I'm taking over. I'll disagree. Okay. I think that this is just straight up Taurasi, Clea Copper, and Brittany Griner all go into business for themselves. They try to score, and they do a pretty decent job at it. They're all really, really good players. But it's really a fade on. This Phoenix Mercury team is just not playing defense at all. At all whatsoever. I can't. Atlanta team total over for the game. I absolutely cannot.
Yep.
All right. Besides, I don't know what freaking technical difficulties I had with the brand new freaking router, but
it's fine. I talked through it, so it's fine.
It's all good. Player props.
I was saying before how Copper refuses to pass the ball. Give me Copper under 2.5 assists at plus money. It's plus 105 on under 2.5. She's had less than 3 assists in 24 of the 33 games this season. She's had less than 3 assists in 6 straight. Give me Copper under 2.5 assists at plus 105.
Let's see.
Do we sell high on Taurasi being the starter now, by the way? Her PRA is at 25.5. She's gone under in 14 of the last 20. Just saying. This might be a game where Taurasi shoots the ball 20 times. So I'm just saying. I might want to take a sell high on Taurasi. I get the usage will be there, but that is a pretty high number for Taurasi this season. So I'm considering that.
No, I agree.
I'm assuming you like Howard threes. Because why not?
Yeah, and keep it going. Like it keeps if it keeps hitting, keep it going.
It's at minus 135.
I think she had that in like the first quarter, if not early in the second last time around.
It's 2.5 at minus 135 on Bet365.
All right, it's time for the Alicia Gray now. Alicia Gray game now.
Okay.
We've had a couple of Ryan Howard games. Alicia Gray's had some okay spots. It's time for the really good game now. Looking at her props over 17.5, set plus money, plus 110 right now, actually. Believe it or not. And looking at her head-to-head matchup with this Phoenix Mercury team, she's at 22, 21, and 22 this season.
Okay.
18 the game before that. So she's gone over in the last 4. But she's at 22, 21, 22 this season. We go over 17.5 for Alicia Gray. 100%.
Yeah, I'll go back to Charles rebounds for this one. I see 12 rebounds is plus 185. If you want to go for the conservative angle, 9.5 is minus 142. 10.5 is plus 115. Double-doubles like minus 125 if you want to go for that. But she played against them twice recently, and in those 2 games, she had a total of 30 rebounds. She had 13 plus in both games. She's had at least 10 rebounds in 5 of the last 6, at least 13 rebounds in 4 of the last 6. Yeah, give me Charles rebounds. I cashed this as my dog about a week or 2 ago. I'll go back to it. Give me the over on rebounds for Charles.
All right.
Do you want to guess, by the way, a trivia question? How many assists Jordan Canada had in her last game?
6. Freaking 6, bro.
It's 6
like it's ridiculous,
so
bro. It's the time that I don't like put it in no type of like parlay or I don't bet it or anything. It's gonna be that game where she just goes nuclear and it's gonna piss me the fuck off.
Her assists are at 6.5. By the way, she has had 6 assists in 6 of the last 7 games. The one exception, she had 5 against the Aces. Exactly 6 in
really fucking piss me off.
in 6 of the last 7 games.
Oh my fucking gosh, bro. And then like, bro, this is another to go over. Like, fuck. I can't do it. It's gonna she's gonna have a double-double this game, watch. And I'm just not gonna enjoy it. It's gonna piss me the fuck off.
Yep.
That's so frustrating. You don't understand how frustrating it is.
It's definitely annoying. I see Reg asking about Charles, or at least saying that Charles might go for points over boards. Then you can take the PR. My point is Charles is a great matchup. I'll back her regardless.
Yeah, I think either way, she's gonna have a good one for sure. All right. Last game of the slate. Yeah,
yeah.
last game of the slate.
So
The Chicago Sky are on the road going to play the Las Vegas Aces. Aces are laying 12.5 here. 164.5 is total. Injury report: Kenny Carter is questionable with that illness. I mean, COVID, health and safety protocols, whatever it is. There you go. Rachel Banham is questionable with the shoulder. Chelsea Gray is not on the injury report. She did leave that game and didn't return against the Mercury with the back injury. I think it's just because they were laying boot to ass to the Mercury, so they didn't need her to come back and said, hey, just stay out. And so she's expected to play and start and be fine.
yeah.
Okay, Chicago is very feisty.
I mean, that's a word to use. They'll lose, but they'll keep it close.
I mean, they covered 13.5.
They did.
They covered the 9.5 against the Aces.
They've
What
been
was
good
that,
against the
other
Aces.
week?
They lost on that buzzer beater by Asia. Like they've been competitive against this team.
The only game that they didn't cover against the Aces was the first matchup. They didn't cover 10.5 and they lost by 12.
I do want to ask you though. The Aces beat the Dream by 11 without, of course, Charles, and they beat the Mercury, who've been terrible. Are the Aces starting to kind of remember who they are, or is it mostly just two teams that were shorthanded or awful, and they just were able to dominate? Because they still don't know.
A mix of both. Because
I agree with that.
Because you have, right before that, a loss to Dallas. And regardless if we think Dallas is better, that's still a pretty bad loss to take. And then before that was the 2-point win against the Sky. Like they haven't had the chance to show it. They just hit a soft part of the schedule. This was, in all honesty, they're supposed to be, on a win streak right now. They just kind of blew Dallas. Sky 2-0, double digits this season. It's actually surprising that it's only been twice that they've caught double digits.
Yeah. I mean, there was a period in the beginning of the season where we were looking at the Sky going, is this team actually, like, good? There was a bit of a time there.
But it's just really hard with Kennedy Carter out. Like, it's just really hard, like, for me. And I guess, like, it was the same thing. They only put up 74 points. So that's decent. Like, that's okay. But it was just the defense really, really locked in against Minnesota. I don't think this defense locks in. I mean, Camilla and Asia is going to be a really, really good part 2 matchup. But you saw, even in a bad Asia Wilson game, she still gives you 20 points.
It's actually so funny, by the way, that she I just can't get over Asia's stat line. It's so stupid. She's the best player. She actually might be right now. If you want to talk about all the sports leagues around, she might have like the widest gap between second best player in the league. Like, there's a conversation. I know, like, for hockey, you could say McDavid. McDavid's the best player by far. I don't really care that he's 0 cups. He's the best player that I've arguably ever seen. You're looking at NFL, he got Mahomes. We know that stats-wise, he didn't have the best year, but he won the MVP. He won the Super Bowl MVP, which is more important. But the point is, you can go down the line. Nobody's even in the same stratosphere. I know that Breanna Stewart is still, like, viewed as the second best player. This is just stupid. Like, Asia is going to win MVP and defensive player, and it's like the third time it's going to happen in her career, and she's still in her prime. She might be, like, the best WNBA player I've ever seen in the league. And I don't think it's a hot take. Is she, like, already going to be, like, top 3? She's better than Candace Parker used to be. And Candace Parker was a god. This is crazy.
Candace Parker is that, like, it's crazy because there's so many different levels. Like, it's so many different levels. So when you're talking about GOATs of WNBA, like, the people that used to sit there and they'd be like, well, Bill Russell was one of the GOATs of the NBA. Like, you have that whole generation of the pioneers in 96 and all that started. But then you hit a stretch where Maya Moore and Candace Parker took this league by storm.
I still think Maya Moore is the greatest guard I've ever seen play the sport, but she retired too early, for obvious reasons, and they're married now. Congratulations. But she was insane.
Asia Wilson is like, it's crazy what we're seeing in real time. It's absolutely crazy.
It's just stupid. I mean, crazy. MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. It's basically Hakeem, except she's still in her prime and she could win like 7 MVPs. This is just stupid. But what'd she have again? 41 and like 17 last game? 41-16?
Was it not 42? Was it 42?
It could have been. The point is, it's
Holy
crazy.
crap.
She's putting up numbers that you basically never see, and she's had multiple games this season with those numbers.
No, see, look, like that's what I'm saying. Like Cynthia Cooper, like when you Tamika Catchings, like you could go all the way back. There's a whole nother generation that there's a discussion about, and I'm just like, man. But Asia Wilson is really good. Like maybe it's because at that point, like at the point in time when like I was born in '96, so like I'm growing up, and yeah, I'm catching some of that stuff not real time, some of the backhand. Like when I started watching my mom and stuff, that was in the prime of Maya Moore. And I remember when she left UConn and she went to Minnesota, and that whole run was just amazing. And so this run of Asia Wilson is like I'm getting more excited. Like I remember how excited as I was younger watching Maya Moore do all that. I'm getting more excited.
I mean, how many WNBA players have you seen in your lifetime that actually just are basically a standard to walk into 27 points every night? I don't know if it's ever happened.
Yeah, Maya Moore. I would say
Moore was probably close.
And then, as much as I don't like her, Taurasi, Taurasi in her prime was really like but it's such a small list. Like it's
that's what I'm saying. And Ace is going for multiple defensive player of the years. Like there's certain
that's the part that really sets her sets the fact that
she's
she does it on both
WNBA Hakeem. She's WNBA Hakeem. Like I can't ignore that.
So we don't have to say anything else. I just can't lay this number with everybody else. Even though Asia Wilson do all that, I just can't lay that with everybody else. Everybody else is just cause for concern. And then the fact that Chelsea Gray may be banged up to an extent, or something may not be right, and she's already not been playing well. I don't think she's about to start playing better. And this is going to be the same thing. Like I really don't
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm going to take this guy. I'll give me this guy plus the points. They've been competitive against this team. They're looking at, once again, a matchup where it came down to the wire. The Aces were up by a decent amount in that game, and then they kind of fell apart down the stretch. They blew the lead, and then Asia bailed them out again. What else is new? They played 3 times. The Sky have covered this line every time. Last 2 games were within single digits. In fact, the Sky did win the last game in Vegas, the only game in Vegas so far this season. So give me the points. I think that even though the Aces can win, I don't trust them defensively enough. And I do think you're looking at a spot where I do think at the end of the day, Asia should be able to have a big game, but the Sky are still good at rebounding. Like we know this every time with any second chance points. I know people are going to make memes about it and how you can make jokes about how Reese gets her own rebound 90% of the time. But the point is rebounding is important. It's a very, very important stat to me. And the fact is, if you're not going to get killed on the boards by Asia, you have a chance to keep games close. And that's kind of why, even though this team doesn't have many great shot makers right now, they hang in there because they will get 3 chances every possession. They're able to kind of get to the foul line and able to get some putback. So give me the points. If the Aces end up covering, would I be shocked? No, because I do think the Sky are not a very good basketball team. But based on how these 2 teams have faced off against each other so far this season, I do think 12.5 is too many, and I'm going to give the Sky some respect. If they get killed, it is what it is, but I cannot lay 12.5 in good conscience. I'm trying to think of what teams I'd actually lay 12.5 against backing the Aces here, because the Sparks have been good against them, so I don't know if I'd actually lay 12.5 against the Sparks. The Mystics, maybe? Like, I don't know, but 12.5, if you've laid double digits with the Aces for like the entire season, you've been miserable because they have not covered in the spot recently, especially. So I'm going to go with the points into this one. I do see that Terrell had technical difficulties again. So either way, I'm going to go into the player prop portion of the matchup. So for the player props, got to start off with the obvious 2 choices here. Got to start with Asia points and with the rebounds for Reese. So to go through the updated number on Asia, she had like 27.5. Yeah, what's her points at? Asia's at 27.5 again. Yeah, right. She did have 41 last game. Asia's the last, 2 of the last 3 games, Asia's had 41 plus points. I mean, name another WNBA player who's done that before. But the last couple games, 41, 26, 42. However, she did have 20 in the last game against Chicago. She had 28 plus in the 3 previous meetings. So I don't mind the over there for her points. But that's obvious. It's Asia. I'm not going to overthink it. Rebounds, though, for Asia, as she has had at least 16 rebounds in 3 of the last 4. So it does seem like Asia, maybe it was after they got killed on the boards against the Lynx in that one game a couple weeks ago. Seems like Asia's kind of priding herself on rebounding the ball better. So maybe that's going to be an angle for her. She added at least 14 rebounds in each of the last 2 meetings this season, and 18 rebounds in the last meeting. I like Asia rebounds here. There might be a potential alt line if you want to go for like 14. You can find that at plus 168. I think that could be intriguing. So I don't mind Asia rebounds as well, besides the points. Maybe PR if you want to go for both combined. Reese's rebounds are at 14.5, and she's had at least 19 rebounds in 4 of the last 6. She had 22 rebounds against the Aces last time, but she had less than 12 in the 2 meetings prior. I think I'm going to pass on Reese rebounds. But Asia rebounds is probably where I'm going. It's plus money as well. I think plus money is a great deal on the Asia boards based on how focused she's been on the rebounding side. 12 plus, once again, at plus 106. 16 plus rebounds in 3 of the last 4, and 14 plus in two against Chicago. I think I have to go Asia rebounds here. The points are obviously good too. Not going to have an issue with the points, but I'm assuming that since Terrell cashed the dog with it last episode, you're okay with going back to Asia rebounds? I'm assuming that's a solid angle. You agree with that?
Yeah. No, we're talking about Asia rebounds, right?
Yeah. Well, I said the Reese at 14.5. I'll probably pass, but Asia 12.5 at plus money. I got to take that.
I don't. I think you play both. I just, who else is getting rebounds here? I think it's a hard stretch for whoever else is getting rebounds in here. And I've literally watched the tape where Asia Wilson, Reese just had that dog in her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could play both. I think 13.5 is where you play it. 14.5 is where you just chill and you don't even, but I see 13.5 minus 125. I think you continue to play the 13.5. Like,
okay.
Yeah, that's the one. I think you still play it, but I agree with you. I do like Asia Wilson. I think that we run her rebounds back again. She has to. Like, she can't let her run away with 19 again. Like, you got to slow her down somehow by getting your own, but she could still have 15 and have a really good day. So I think it's rebounds in this one. I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and close things out before I don't get the chance. I don't know how I get a brand new freaking modem today. I still have the freaking... Where's the plastic? This is the plastic it came in. I just got this thing today. Freaking doesn't work. All right. I hate... Internet companies are terrorists. We need to put that on a shirt. I'm about to have a strongly worded email. And then I'm going to follow it up with a phone call.
Yeah, they're going to put you on hold for 45 minutes. That's how they get even.
And you know what? The longer they have me on hold, the more cuss words I'm going to use. Okay. Every minute longer, I'm going to add another one in there. And I'm going to be saying ones that don't even... I might call them a cunt. I don't think I've ever called anybody that. I don't think I've ever done anybody that, but I might say it. Scott, I might do it.
That's very Australian of you.
For my lock. Oh. Am I laying the points with Dallas? Yeah.
Probably.
I'm not afraid. This is a brand new team. Brand new team. No Austin. No Sykes. If they go ahead and handle business in the first half, and that's a if at this point. Well, it really doesn't matter what group lineup Eric Tebow has. He handles business in the first half. But after the first half, this is stone cold money for Dallas, baby. All the way. Give me Dallas. Laying the 5 points. They win this one by double digits. I'm calling for it. All right. For my dog. Let's go with a little same game parlay type action. And we're going to take Alicia Gray over 17.5 points because she's been so money against the Atlanta Dream. 20 plus in all 3 games this season. We're going to take that. We're going to parlay it with Dream on the money line, Scott.
All right. So for my lock on the show, I feel like I'm going to go back to player props because I ended up sweeping the last podcast. I was a fan, though, of the wings as well. I think that's a pretty good angle. The Copper assists are intriguing at 2.5, but they have no point guard. So maybe the argument is it's going to trickle down to her. But I'm not sure she knows how to pass. So that's kind of the problem there with Copper to go over the assists here. Charles, it's going to be rebound props today. The question is what I want to take. I can get Charles double-double at minus 130, which I think is intriguing. It's a tough call. There are a couple plays here. I think for this one, I might go with a little bit of juice, but I do like it quite a bit. Give me Asia over 11.5 rebounds at minus 145. I think she's going to have at least 12. She's been rebounding so well, I can't really ignore it. I thought about doing an alt with her, but I think I'll take an alt with somebody else. But Asia's had at least once again 14 rebounds in 3 of the last 4, 32 rebounds in the last 2 games. And that was against Chicago, by the way. So once again, 32 rebounds in the last 2 games against Chicago, 14 plus in 3 of the last 4. And in general, she has had at least 16 rebounds in 3 of the last 4 as well. So give me Asia over 11.5 rebounds, minus 145. Reason why I'm going to go with the default line instead of an alt, there is a chance the Aces blow them out. So I think I'm going to try to avoid a potential pulling in this spot. Just give me the regular rebounds here at 11.5 at minus 145. If you want 12.5, though, I don't mind it. That's a slight amount of plus money. For my dog, I think I am going to go with a player that I've hated all year long, but I do like this price quite a bit. It's dangerous, but I'm going to have to go with it. Give me McCowan over 9.5 rebounds at plus 205. She's at 11 plus rebounds in 4 straight, and I do think that it's a pretty solid number for a player's minutes to start to kind of go up again. She's played at least 24, 25 minutes in 4 straight. But against the Mystics, she's not been that great this season. They were kind of dated, though, the standings. And she barely, the overall head-to-head meetings, they were really a reflection of her form at that point because she played less than 15 minutes in both games. But the minutes are up again. We know Satu's not rebounding, and McCowan's kind of re-earned the trust. Really, ever since she had the mental breakdown in the Liberty game, she's kind of stepped it up rebounding-wise. So give me McCowan over 9.5 rebounds at plus 205 as my dog.
All right. Let's see here. Parlay Asia Wilson over 12.5 rebounds, under 159.5 in the Seattle Storm Connecticut Sun game, over 160 in Mercury, Borons and Dream.
Yep. Works.
So, yeah. All right, that's 6-1. Not bad. All right, Scott, underdog. Before I lag out of here for the 15th millionth time tonight.
I've been trying to ramble every time you lagged out, so I don't think that people should have been that bothered. There weren't any awkward silences. So
let's see. We have what do we want to do here? Do we want some what do we want to do, Scott? Where do we want to go with this? What's the build? What's the build for this lineup? Do we start with a DB under? Do we dare lower? Do we dare tip fate with the DB lower here? I feel like she's going to make us pay if we do that.
She might. I kind of prefer a lower on Tarazi. Just take the extra usage and just throw it in the garbage because I don't mind the lower under PRA. Unless you want to go with the regular chalk. We can do Asia PR. We can do Charles rebounds. And if you want to go for McCowan or you want to go for a pivot there, we can. But I feel like we should have Asia and I don't know where Reese is at on underdog. It could be 13.5.
It's 14.5.
Okay, of course it is. So Asia, I'm assuming we're fine with. She's kind of earned being blindly included. On Charles, I feel like we should. Charles obviously was my runner up there for my dog. I thought about doing it, but I'll switch it up.
And then I threw Tarasi lower in there.
It's fun. We always like having one lower in there.
All right, Tarasi lower, 25.5 PRA. Tina Charles higher, 10.5 rebounds. That's spicy too. And Asia Wilson higher, 12.5 rebounds. It's going to pay 6.6x. $50 gets you $330 on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. Special pick and a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code NBA SGPN. Scott, anything else for the people before we get up out of here?
No, not really. Had fun going through all the games. Once again, looking forward to being back for the future games later in the week. I have a couple tennis episodes though tonight, which is going to be a late night. I got a WTA Women's U.S. Open episode probably in like 20 minutes. And then I have a men's episode after that. So I'll be up late. So if you want to catch some late night tennis streams, I got you covered.
There you go. He told you. All right. That's really it for us, guys. Hey, there's 68 of you in here. Make sure you like the stream on the way out. And for everybody that came in here just for the picks after the fact, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. I love you. Just make sure you like the video, leave a comment, do whatever on the way up out of here. I actually have nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just going to end like this. Borons is a really funny word. We're out of here.